today we want to talk about booking into or clearing into foreign countries.
Yeah.
Because we get asked lots of questions. People, I think, are very, not afraid, but they just don't know what to expect.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is a bit daunting when the first couple of times you do it.
Okay, so I think what we could do is start with Andrew. Just start with your thoughts, because you recently have booked into a new country and you weren't expecting to have to do it. So you kind of had to take all of our paperwork and go to another country.
Yeah. When I was here last year, I didn't go with Simon at all. When you were going home, I kind of we need to sort this out. So Simon explained everything on the sheets and everything, and as I say, I'd never done it before. I think I was more petrified, really, going, I'm going, will I get the stamp to get in here, or sort of thing, and it was actually not bad at all. That really wasn't bad at all.
Well, you had a lot to think about too. You were sailing a boat, I mean, just to back up a little bit for those people that haven't been following along with us the whole time. You came out to go sailing with us for a little while. I got sick and we had to go back to the UK, and we let you take the boat.
Yeah, no, I saw
So we gave you a crash course on how to sail. And then, but on top of how to sail, there's all these other things that you need to do, and one of them is booking in and out of countries. Were you thinking that maybe when you got to another country, they might not let you in?
Yeah, definitely, because first of all, I just kind of ignored it, to be honest with you, because I was just more concentrated on the sailing and watching out for rocks and stuff like that. So I kind of ignored it, but then I knew I had to go to Union, say for instance, to sign back into the country. I didn't really think nothing of it until we anchored, and once I got on the mooring buoy, then all of a sudden I thought, oh, I better go, and we've only got a certain, at the time it was, I think it was 24 hours to sign out and sign back in again, to go and sort this out, sort of thing, and it was really quite daunting. I've got everything I was explained to by Simon, and I knew where I had to go, so luckily for that I knew where to go. Whereas other people, they probably don't know where to go, so they'll probably have to research where they have to go, they'll have to find out what times they're open, and stuff like that. So, but luckily I knew from Simon and yourself, sort of thing, that I knew I had to go to the airport, for instance, and then I had to be there between such and such a time, and then as I walked through the door, luckily for us, there was a lady outside having a cigarette, and as she was having a cigarette, she seen us coming with a folder, and she just went straight inside, and I just kind of followed her a little bit, and she just took the forms off us, and she gave us another form to fill in. So, which was, for me, it was lucky really, because I would have been standing going, oh, which way do I go, or that kind of thing. And then after that, it wasn't too bad. They were actually quite helpful, and I did make a mistake on the forms, and the lad just says, don't worry about it, just you've made a mistake, end of story. So from being thinking, oh, am I going to get in now? Because I've filled this in wrong, thinking, he just scribbled it out, he goes, don't worry about it, and he put his signature beside it, and it was quite cool.
And everything that you had to fill in on the forms was in a little packet that Simon carries with him. So you just had to kind of copy across.
Well, what Simon did for us, he luckily he kept one from a while ago, so I knew exactly for the tonnage of because I didn't know what the size of the boat was, but I know the size of the boat, but ton wise, and I wasn't quite sure how much the horsepower was in the engine, the little outboard. So when you cut the fillers in, luckily Simon left all his form for us to fill in, so I just kind of copied everything across, and especially the MSS9 number, I would never have known that. So luckily I got all that as well. So that was really handy for me personally,
And Simon, you've probably booked in and out of, I don't know, a lot of countries.
30, 40 countries, whatever it is, I don't know.
Yeah, can you kind of condense it down into the process? Like what, is it the same thing to book into every country, or?
It's very, very similar. Once you found out where to go, you get there and you go in and you say, I've just come in, I've come from this port, and they generally give you a piece of paper you have to fill out, and you fill it all out, and you just copy off your documents, the number, the tonnage, like you're saying, how big it is in either feet or meters, whichever they want, and you just fill the form out, and then you give it over, and then they generally ask you questions like, where is your boat? How long are you going to stay? Where are you going next?
How many crew on board?
Yeah, how many crew?
Does everyone have to go in with you?
Generally, no. I would say 95% of the time it was just me, just the captain. Or I think somewhere like Trinidad, we all had to go in, and that was probably the hardest country we've been into, because it took about 3 hours for the paperwork. You had to be dressed in a DJ and a party dress to get in there, because they have certain restrictions, so you have to find all that out. But especially when Sienna was young, I used to take Sienna with me, and especially in like Greece and Turkey, it just made everything go so quick because they just love kids and.
They expedited the process because you had a child.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I remember we were talking to this one couple, and they took 2.5 hours to book in this one place in Greece. I took Sienna in. I was in and out in 5 minutes.
It's funny you should say that, because when we went to sign back out again, because I went there on my first time on my own, we went back to sign out again. I took Charlie and Archie with us, and Joan came as well. And then and we got in, and they were more bothered about the kids.
Yeah.
Than they were the paperwork. They were just chatting to them all the time, and it was a bit, and it was like, go out.
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah, real quick. Like, well, that was work. Goes, give us your money.
Yeah.
Give us your money. Get out. Sort of thing.
We have a friend that used to play the old person card, and she definitely does not have an old person mentality. But she would get into customs and just be like, "Oh, I'm old and I'm hot and I need to get out of here," and they would like stamp her real quick and she would go.
Yeah.
So it's really funny. Not that we're suggesting that you play that card.
No. Not at all. But I found that certain countries are a lot easier than other countries, and there's a few countries that are...
Pernickety? Is that a word?
Yeah, their attitude isn't the kindest. It feels as like everything is a real burden to do. Like I remember booking into BVI's, and it was like 20 minutes before they were supposed to shut. She goes, I'm not doing it. It's going to take longer than 20 minutes to do the paperwork. You have to come back tomorrow. I went, but I'm going to be over 24 hours. It doesn't matter. Blah, blah, blah. Just come back tomorrow. I'm thinking, just get on and do it. But what you have to do is you just have to, even if they're really not very nice to you, just keep smiling.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you start you start complaining or getting at them, they'll just slow down and you'll be there
make your life difficult.
Oh, they'll make you stay there for hours.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it happen. I've actually seen it happen where this guy was not very nice to the person and he told her to sit down, and then I was gone in 5 minutes, and then I saw him coming out about 2 hours later.
Yeah. Okay, so real quick, what's the process? You're going to a new country, you fly the Q flag,
Yep, you fly the Q flag. You've got to find out certain places, do make sure you have to anchor. You can't come into a dock, and the BVI I know is a big one for that, and they can actually find you. Most places are more relaxed.
So let's say we've anchored.
We've anchored. The Q flag's flying. As quick as possible, you're supposed to go in and book in. And what I do is I have this bag with all our passports in there, and I have a folder which I take, and it has all our forms in. So I've got this list, so it tells me I can just look instead of flicking through to find out the tonnage and everything. I've got this form which is all in front of me, and I can just do it that way.
And what forms do you have in there?
Our certificate of registration. This is the UK version. I've got a radio form. There's a big one, insurance. They ask for, a lot of places ask for your insurance. So I've got all the important documentation in here for the boat, like the registration, insurance, documentation, all things like that. Also, what I do right in the front pages is I have the relevant paperwork from our last country, or the country that we're in. So in case we get checked, I know it's straight in the front page. So you have to give this form in from the country you've left to go into the next country, and they just keep that, look at it. While they're doing that, you fill in the new forms that they give you. There is certain countries that do online booking in and booking out. I think it's Sail Clear, but I think that's mainly the UK, the old UK islands do that. But sometimes that can help, and that helps the procedure really, really quickly.
Yeah, and I find that the best way to get information about booking into the country is talk to the liveaboards or the cruisers around you and say, hey, have you booked into Trinidad, for example? I remember Sarah from Rondo sent me a text message knowing that we were going to Trinidad saying, Kim, make sure you don't wear a sleeveless shirt, no shorts, and what is it? Camouflage is illegal. You'll be thrown in jail if you wear camouflage. Now that's an important kind of tip. All right, but But coming back, I know there's customs and then there's immigration. Are they in the same place? So Q flag, drop the dinghy, go in, find. Who do you find first? Customs first? Immigration first? What do you do?
It's normally immigration first.
Okay, and so that's your first port of call.
It's always your first port of
You
call.
fill out stuff. Do you pay them?
Yes, you pay them. It varies from country to country. Some are, depending on how long you want to stay, some are only like 30 US and some go up to about 50, 60, even 70 US for your stay. So you go to immigration first. Sometimes the customs is in right next to you, and you go along the line and you go straight out, or it's in the building around the corner, or they have to ring up and you have to sit there and wait while the customs guy comes in or the immigration guy comes in, and that's like on a weekend or late on at night. And with that, you have to pay extra for out of hours. So be prepared for that. And if you're coming in for a weekend, you're going to pay extra.
Well, yeah, it's important to note that like certain places, if you do come in out of hours, they do charge extra, and you could miss it by like 5 minutes. And if that's the case, you didn't plan really well going to the country. So it's really important to find out when the hours of operation are. Because Trinidad, I mean, even though they were at the office, after 4 o'clock was considered like late. And so you had to pay quite a bit extra. It was something like that.
No, we planned it to come in to Trinidad around at 8 o'clock, get onto a mooring ball in the bay, and then get the dinghy in. And we didn't want to go in before, as either 7:30 or 8 o'clock, I can't remember. And that was the biggest question that I got asked, because they could get more money out of me. And I said, well, you can have a look on the AIS, you can see what time we came in. And we went, oh, okay, and then stamped, and so that saved us like $50.
Yeah.
And what I thought as well, I thought 2 adults, which is me and Joe and sort of thing, and I thought Charlie, she's 12 years of age. I thought she's a child. Oh, she's a child. He's 7 years of age. All of a sudden, Charlie's an adult.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking she's 12. She's an adult. No, she's classed as an adult because you're going to get an extra couple of pounds out of her.
Yeah.
That's a good point, because Sienna's only 8, so I haven't come across that, so that's a good point.
Yeah, it's interesting, the little fees and things that can be
I can
added
understand
on.
like 14, 15 years of age, but 12, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just crazy, but I suppose that's the way they get the extra money, isn't it?
Yeah. Also, do you put them as passengers or do you put them as crew? I always put Sienna as crew. How old is your child? 8. She's not crew, she's a passenger. I'm thinking, okay.
But certain countries say that everybody on board is a passenger, and then other countries say they're crew. So that's one of those questions sometimes you have to ask when you get in there.
And then just smile at them and cross it out and put crew. Because sometimes they actually charge more money for crew.
Yeah, and
for passengers.
For passengers. The other funny one is again, Trinidad. We're really harping on about Trinidad right now. But they have a line item that says, how many illegals did you bring into the country? Or what's the wording? Stowaways. How many stowaways?
As if you're going to tell them anyway.
Well, yeah. And what I'm thinking is maybe people get on a cargo ship and they find out when they get there. And it's to say, okay, 3 people from Venezuela got on. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think maybe that because of it's within 6 miles where we were, within 6 to 7 miles of Venezuela. Maybe that's a big problem for them, and that's why they put it on.
Yeah,
so,
obviously
we're making fun of them, but that's probably the reason why.
Yeah. So that's all about booking in. I know that different places, because I never go to book in with you. I think I've had to go twice maybe. And in the Med and in the Caribbean and America, America's a whole different topic. Yeah. Maybe we should touch on that just a little bit. But basically it's the same kind of thing. You put the yellow flag up, anchor, go in, go to customs, go to excise, you pay the amount of money, you show your passport. Sometimes you get a stamp, sometimes you don't. But you get the necessary paperwork that you are required to keep and then clear out with. So you keep all that in a bundle. Go back to the boat, bring down the Q flag, you can put up the country flag. Yeah, so that's the basic process.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just mentioned America. America is a weird one.
Yeah, America is completely different. I found them the most difficult being a foreign flagged vessel. When I first came in, I had to get a visa to come in. You can't come in on a normal visa, and if you're thinking of going to America and you're a foreign boat, a foreign national, please make sure you have a B1, B2 visa, because they will fine you, they can confiscate your boat, they can kick you out, and they keep the boat there, and it can be really, really difficult. You know, if they have their rules and you must follow them,
Yeah.
then they're very unflexible.
And it's important to realize that certain islands, like in the Caribbean, are American.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico's American.
Yep.
British, or you got
American,
the British Virgin Islands, but then you got the American.
U.S. Virgin Islands.
Yeah, and you cannot go in, like, no matter what you think that your story you're going to tell.
Yeah.
If you do not have that B1, B2 visa,
Yeah.
you can, even if you have an ESTA, the only way you can get into an American island or American area is to anchor your boat in like British Virgin Islands, get off your boat, get onto land, and take a ferry from, let's say,
British Virgin Islands.
any of the British Virgin Islands into the American islands.
Yeah, as long as you got an ESTA.
As long as you have an ESTA.
Yeah.
But you can, like, so don't even try it. We have so many friends that have been fined. No matter what story you try to come up with, they're not going to have it.
And
Well, that was the first thing that, like, when we first got in touch with each other, like, a couple of years, like last year, sort of thing. It was the first thing he said was get one of these visas. It was very important. And as it happened, I had to go get mine from London, but fill in the online form at home before I could be accepted or get my date to go to London. It was a freaking nightmare.
Yeah.
But I got it all eventually. I had to go and get one of the young kids to show us how to do it. And luckily she'd already been there and done it herself anyway, so she kind of knew roughly which way to go. So I filled all that and sent it all off. Went away down to London. It was quite funny. I get into London and I'm a country bumpkin, you know. I've never been to the big city sort of thing, so I get on the tube and you know. So I get there anyway, and I'm standing in the queue, and there's like absolutely hundreds of people, and then you just get kind of go in. And never mind. So you go through all the process to get there, and I got to the window, and the man says, "So what are you doing?" And I says, "I'm gonna go sailing for free." I said, "Yeah, I'm just there to learn." He said, "You crackers." He said, "You got to go work on a boat for free." And I said, yeah. And he said, "I think you're crazy." And as it happened was, he was actually giggling away because he thought it was really funny, and he went away and gave us a 10-year visa.
Yeah.
So,
but they're afraid, though. That's what they're afraid of, is that you're going to come in and earn money. Right?
Yeah.
So the B1, B2 visa allows you to go, and you can do business, but you can't be seen to be making any kind of
all right,
money.
okay.
Yeah.
So this year, when I came this year, because it was a cheaper flight to get here, sort of thing, even though I was down in Grenada, it was JFK, then down here.
Yeah.
So I was like, didn't even have to worry one little bit. I had my little piece of paper, and they just went, that was out great.
Yeah.
You know, so.
It's a pain in the butt to get.
It's a pain in the butt to get,
and it
but
takes,
it's worth it.
Yeah, and it
well
takes
worth it.
months, and
Yeah.
they can deny you.
Yeah.
We've had lots of people that have been denied.
Denied,
It's not one of these last minute things, let's get a boat, sail, and then go get
Well,
the
I
visa.
must have been in the queue on what has been, because I got there for like 9 o'clock in the morning. So it must have been 1 o'clock before I eventually got to see the man. And the amount of people got turned on and just denied.
Denied,
and they've been there for 4 or 5 hours like me had.
Yeah.
And they all got denied.
And you have to pay
Aye, still have to pay.
quite a bit of money
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And so America's a bit interesting from that perspective. So if you take nothing else, take the fact that you need a B1, B2 visa to sail into any American waters.
Yeah, before you get in there.
Unless it is like some kind of
Emergency.
and then, you know, I think you'll probably be okay, but
Yeah.
you better be a seriously,
Good move.
Yeah,
you know.
storm, engine failure, fire, and you know they're not going to kick you out.
Yeah.
But when you're in there, you also then have to get a cruising license, which lasts for a year, and you must get that because otherwise it is a pain. And you must have $19, not 20. Not 50 to give them 50. You have to have the exact amount. So make
and you
sure
can't tell them to keep the change for a 20 because that's bribery.
Yeah, that's bribery. Yeah.
No.
We
Yeah,
know
no.
all this because we've been through it.
So I've got 20. We don't give change, and
And we don't accept bribes.
We don't accept bribes.
Yeah, they're real serious in America.
And this place was in the middle of nowhere. Luckily, I had to walk like a quarter of a mile to go and buy a coffee, and then get change.
Yeah. But okay, so the important thing about the cruising permit is that allows you to cruise all through America and make a phone call to say where you're moved to.
Yeah.
Whereas if you don't have a cruising permit, you need to go and find
That was a weird
customs.
situation as well. I know we're getting off the phone part because it's about logging in and logging out of the country. Every time we did it last year, you were phoning up to say, right, we're at our next destination now, and you were never getting through.
Yeah.
Then we kept saying, oh, well, we're sailing to another place tomorrow, so it's going to be another destination. So I think it was 4 days or 5 days before you eventually got in touch with them.
Yeah.
And then they turned out all the computer system broke down.
Yeah, and it was no big deal.
Yeah, but I'll tell you how hot they are. We actually moved docks from A dock to E dock, and 2 customs and immigration people came down, or border force people came down and going, "Why have you moved?" I'm going, "I'm in the same
Marina.
I'm in the same marina." And I thought, with the cruising license, we were in Charleston, and I think it was like 5 or 6 miles that we were allowed to go cruising in without
having to call.
Without having to call.
Yeah, I think they were having
I think they're having a quiet day.
a quiet day.
But they were really nice, and we had a good old chat with
Yeah.
them, and we had a laugh and a joke with them. The funny thing about America is that it's really weird. When you leave, you just leave.
Yeah, there's no booking out procedure.
Booking out.
You can't book out. They don't, and I think that's the craziest thing. You would think that they want to know that you left.
They've left, right.
That brings up another problem, and this is really important to know. So if you're in Puerto Rico and you're going to sail to Antigua, Antigua will not accept the fact that you have not booked out of America.
Yeah.
So you actually have to go to customs
Yes.
in America. We had to go to an airport
Yeah.
and get a paper that says we have been in Puerto Rico and
We are officially left.
we're leaving.
Aye.
But if you get to Antigua and don't have that paper,
They'll send you
Antigua
back.
won't let you in.
They'll send you back.
And then you're stuck. You can't go anywhere. Well, we all know you can go to the French islands.
The French islands, yes.
Yeah.
So the French islands, this is just a tip, and who knows if it's going to work for everybody, but generally the French islands don't really...
They're more relaxed.
Yeah.
We'll say they're relaxed.
yeah, and everything's kind of online.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
You need to know how long you can stay in different countries. Some it's like a month, some it's a couple weeks.
No,
Yeah.
3 months.
3 months.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, you got to find out how long you're there for, and if you're going to be staying longer. Like a lot of people here in Grenada are staying longer, and I think they have to go and get an extension. They have to go up to the government building and get an extension.
And just pay a little bit more.
Yeah, pay a little bit more. So you need to find that out if you're going to be staying longer because of the hurricane season or whatever. Booking out is relatively simple. It's a little bit easier than booking in. You just go in, get some standby, and they just fill the form out to say where where you're going. You're making sure that you go, and then you retain that paperwork, because you must keep that paperwork for when you get to the next country, and that is really, really important, because if you don't, they might just send you back because you have no proof that you left the country.
I'm going to get off the subject a little bit. I know it's and it depends where you are as well, or where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
But last year we had to buy, because we're at the customs office
Yeah.
and we're signing in the Bahamas, we actually had to buy a fishing visa.
Yep.
Yes.
So we
Sometimes
actually
it's included in the...
Sometimes it's included, but this time we had to buy it. I think it was only $20 or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And it was valid for 3 months. But if you ever wanted to go fishing when you were visiting these countries, you have to have a license to do that.
Yeah.
So that's where you get that from, the customs office as well, you know.
Yeah, okay. Also, talking about that, fishing, certain countries don't allow spear guns.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the
certain countries don't allow fishing.
Fishing, yeah.
Yeah, don't
Full
allow
stop.
fishing, yeah. Also, spear guns, the Bahamas don't allow them,
No.
and they will take them off you.
Yeah.
But, if you're starting at one end of the Bahamas and going to the other end of the Bahamas and then going on, you've lost it, because it stays in the one where it is.
Yeah.
So,
And that's if you tell them you have it, right?
yeah, look, I'm not condoning anything. So, firearms. We get a lot of questions on firearms. Do you have firearms?
No.
No.
Well, we don't have firearms.
We don't have firearms.
But if you do have them, everywhere you go, you need to bring them in, don't you? And give them to the country,
Yep.
and then you can get them back after you leave.
When you leave, yes.
Is that every country?
So what's the point of having a firearm then?
Well, it's
That's there
between
protect you.
passage, I guess.
Well, it's between passages, and but I'm thinking most of the time you're going to be wanting a weapon is if you're in the street. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not for weapons. I was in the British Army. I know how to handle a weapon. I'm not scared of weapons. I just don't think they're
Not necessary.
No, I don't think they're
Well,
necessary.
in the 5 years that we've been, traveling, we've never once felt the need to have a weapon.
No,
So.
not at all. No, but
I would just get one of Sienna's prettier ones and pretend.
Yeah.
a water pistol.
So weapons was one thing. I think the other thing that people ask about too is pets, and we don't have a pet, so we're probably not the best to
Yeah.
answer about that. But we've been sailing down the whole Caribbean with lots of pet owners.
Yeah.
It seems pretty relaxed. even though there might be.
Well, yeah.
I think it's just the same situation, isn't it? Like signing in, signing out, sort of thing. To get to do the same for the captain, just make sure it's.
Yeah, they have their own
it's
passports.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's
make
not
sure they're
just-
vaccinated
yeah.
and stuff
So-
like that. So there's.
And again, you'll pay another
system.
fee for them, so it's another way of
Yeah.
getting a bit of money. But
Yeah, it's just research,
from a personal point of view, for never ever done it before, and kind of getting thrown in the deep end, it was surprisingly quite easy.
Yeah, it is.
You know, so as long as you're honest with them and you're paying the
Yeah.
bit, and you haven't got an invalid passport sort of thing, yeah, fine.
Everybody's super nice. I mean, they're
Yeah.
chatty most of the time. Sometimes certain countries are a little bit less happy, I
Yeah.
think. But overall, you know, they're just normal people, and it's more of a formality. I think I can speak for America just because that's where I grew up. I think I grew up on the Canadian American border, and we always were really scared because sometimes we had bad experiences, and that's because they would say we couldn't come in, or they'd want to search our car or something like
Yeah.
that. But like regarding sailing, I don't think anybody's too worried about anything. It's just, you know, getting the paperwork right
Yeah.
and making sure that you have insurance and everything's above board.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're gonna say no, you can't come in.
No, because they want you there. 'Cause
Yeah, they want the money
They want you
and-
there because
yeah.
you're spending money in that country.
Yeah.
So
And what I'll do is I'll have an article that will go with this and a checklist of things to.
Yeah, because that's actually very handy, you know. Like if that little list that Simon's got there of his boat and everything, that's very handy.
all right, thanks.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I don't know what I'm doing. I think I need another coffee.
Make us feel like Simon's height.
Short ass.
Remember to visit sailingbritican.com to find out more about our sailing guides, Britican Club, and learn about our week-long Britican live-aboard sailing experience offering.